My view is I've never heard you give so much space to an individual on your Uncensored programme. Oh, to speak in such an unfettered fashion and not be interrupted. But more specifically...
hang on. Just to be clear, I interviewed him only literally like 10 days ago, and we got into a slanging match about various things, including what I think are his pretty odious views about women's place in society. But he's entitled to have those views, right? The question for me is he a criminal? Because
Andrew Tate platforming himself there,
it's different.
quickly.
I don't go see a lawyer to talk about the law. I walked in there and said, listen, I've committed multiple felonies. Am I gonna go to jail? Well, probably. Well, then see ya! That was a female. I went to a man's office, said, I've committed multiple felonies.
There are things we can do. We can try this, we can try that.
No problem.
I make one call, we send somebody else to jail.
He is the new Andrew. He shave his head and he go. I'm like, all right, it's cool. That's the lawyer I want.
But the question for me is he a criminal?
I've committed multiple felonies.
Hi. A little while ago, Andrew Tate was on Piers Morgan Uncensored and, was basically spreading misinformation, again, as usual, saying that the Crown Prosecution Service has dropped the charges against him because of lack of evidence, which is not true. And if you want to hear that debunked, I recommend, as I always do, Gadget's video, which I will link down below, where he goes into like what really happened, and debunks the misinformation that Andrew Tate has been saying. But anyway, what I want to talk about is Piers Morgan saying that people shouldn't be talking about like the Tates as if like they're guilty until after the trial. Okay.
I think we go down such a dangerous path when we say, let's deplatform someone who, as of today, as of just your interview right now, he has not been convicted of any criminal wrongdoing. He has not been found guilty, which is the big thing. So why are we treating him as if he has been? I think it really diminishes other cases that get brought forward. We really shouldn't be doing this. It's a very dangerous precedent.
I do think trial by public jury, right, on social media, trial by media, all trial by media actually, but particularly these days where social media can be so toxic and tribal. I've watched immediately the way this development's broken on social media, what people have done. Andrew Tate supporters have immediately rushed to falsely claim he's been cleared of all charges, right? Including Romania, not true. Including everything in the UK, not true. Others have gone the other way and they've raced to say, this means nothing, he's guilty, he's this, he's that. And I'm sitting there looking at this as a journalist going, why don't we just stick to the facts here? Why don't we wait and see if Andrew Tate actually, along with his brother, actually ever gets into a courtroom in a criminal case and has a chance to defend himself against allegations. Because if that never happens, if, as he says, the Romanian system clogs this down for years and years to come, the accusers, they're not served any good public service by that. He isn't, obviously, either, but nor are the public, right? The public will never be able to work out whether he's guilty or not.
Do you know what's really interesting? Emotion on him. I just don't like the fact he platformed himself as if he was a victim.
All right.
I don't see him as a victim.
But you don't know he's not a victim. You might think he's got horrible views, but actually, by saying what you've just said, you don't know that. It may be that he is exactly what he's portraying himself as, which is a victim of a vengeful justice system around the world to try and silence him. I don't know.
Or a matrix, as he puts it, as your friend refers to it. A matrix, all against Andrew Tate and other men
him,
like
calling me a friend. I've never met him socially in my life, right? But the reality is, I think it's just better to stick to facts with Tate. And let's see where it takes us.
So don't platform again, because he talks rubbish
And if
most
he's
of the time.
convicted of crimes, I will be the first to be as censorious as you would be. I just prefer to do that once people have been convicted of a crime, not because I want them to be guilty.
But just remember how difficult it is to bring a criminal conviction against a man.
Separate issue.
Okay, that like people shouldn't be like having an extreme view either one way, either they're saying that they're guilty or innocent until after the trial, because obviously it's innocent until proven guilty. And while I agree that innocent until proven guilty should be taken extremely seriously, but the thing is with the Tate case, and the reason why a lot of people talk as if he's guilty, like when he hasn't been convicted yet is because the difference between the Tate case and a lot of other cases is that the only way that the Tates could possibly be innocent would be if Andrew Tate himself had been lying about the stuff that he's accused of doing. Okay, and I'm going to show what I mean in a minute, but first of all, I want to explain, because there seems to be a few people who they seem to have it in their head, right, that those of us that don't like the Tates, who, you know, think that they should be locked up, or, you know, at least want them to go to trial, or those of us that don't really like Andrew Tate being platformed so that he can spread all his misinformation and, well, tell all his lies, people seem to think that it's because Andrew Tate says controversial things and that people are offended by what he says, and that's why, like, we don't like him, and we don't like him being platformed, and why we're apparently hoping that he's guilty, because our dislike for him and the stuff that he says is like clouding our judgment or something. And I want to clarify that that is absolutely not true. That is not the case, okay? It's not the stuff that Andrew Tate says, it's the stuff that he's admitted to doing. It is why, like, we don't like it when he's, like, given free rein to, like, you know, lie and spread misinformation. And I mean, even if you're somebody who believes he's innocent or doesn't definitely think he's guilty, I mean, you can't say that he doesn't lie. I mean, it's easily, you know, proven that Andrew Tate is a compulsive liar, because he contradicts himself and slips up on his lies all the time. Like, you know, one minute he's saying there's no victims, the victims are all made up, and then he goes on Piers Morgan and talks about how he knows the victims, okay? And again, I recommend Gadget's video that I will link down below, okay? So undoubtedly he lies, okay? But, you know, as for people thinking that we just don't like him because of, like, the controversial stuff he says, it's like, well, if Andrew Tate was not accused of any crimes, and he wasn't accused of abuse or anything like that, if he was just, you know, got famous for, you know, coming out with his, like, misogyny and his, like, you know, anti-PC stuff that he comes out with, well, then I wouldn't really think he was any different from anybody else in the red pill, okay? Like, the stuff he says is not any different from other red pillars. And, like, of course, anybody who's familiar with my channel would know that I don't like the red pill community, or I don't agree with the propaganda they come out with, right? But I would never say that they shouldn't be allowed to, like, you know, say the stuff they say, or I'd never say that people shouldn't platform, you know, people that say stuff that I don't like or anything like that. I mean, you know, Piers Morgan has had Pearl Davis on his show many times, and Pearl, you know, just like Andrew Tate, believes that, like, you know, women shouldn't vote and men should be in charge of everything. And although I don't really sort of take Pearl too seriously, because I think she says a lot of stuff to try to wind people up and make people angry. But there's other people, like Piers has had Myron Gaines on his show many times. He's had Andrew Wilson on his show, and you know, these are all guys that, like, I mean, I don't like, and I don't agree with what they say, but I'm not saying, like, that people shouldn't platform them. I don't really care if Andrew Wilson wants to go on Piers Morgan and argue with some feminists about whether women should be working or voting or whatever. It's like, I don't care. It's not about the stuff that, you know, I don't, you know, agree with the stuff Andrew Tate says, but, like, when people are annoyed about him being platformed, or people, like, you know, want him to go to trial, this is it's not because of the stuff he says, okay? It's because of the stuff he's done, alright? Now, which brings me to this next point, okay? Piers saying that, well, you know, he hasn't been found guilty yet. We shouldn't be talking as if he's guilty before he has been found guilty, before he's been to trial and been found either guilty or not guilty, right? Well, let me explain what I mean when I say that the only way for Andrew Tate to be innocent would be if he lied about himself, right? If we go through the things that he's accused of, the things that he's charged with, for a moment. Okay, so let's start with, first of all, sex trafficking, okay? Now, it's common for sex traffickers to use a method that they call the lover boy method, right? And what that is they seduce a woman, or, in some cases, teenage girl, and it's very often traffickers will prey on young women and teenagers that have come, from not very nice backgrounds, not had really caring families and can be vulnerable. I mean, not always, but sometimes it's vulnerable women and teenage girls that are a lot more likely to fall for this, because they're more desperate for love because they haven't had the loving family, and these traffickers know this. They're playing on a wound. They know they know that they're desperate for love, they haven't been cared for, that they're less likely to spot the red flags, that somebody is a manipulator. Okay. So very often, vulnerable young women and teenagers sometimes, and they seduce them, and they make them, think that they're in love with them, and they basically brainwash these young women, and promise them that they're going to have a wonderful life together and all of this, but really it's manipulation. Okay, it's coercion. They get these women totally in love with them, totally hooked on them, so they can then start manipulating them, and start off subtly, all right, and until they get them doing the OnlyFans and sex work and all that for money, right? And and Andrew Tate has openly admitted to doing this, and he's taught classes, he's made videos teaching men how to do this to women.
So yeah, on CobraTate.com I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm
clever.
And
Clever.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me. Because that's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me. And that's how I got rich. I was all about trying to get paid. I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense. I was not trying to have sex with women. I was trying to get women to obey me. And I realized that's easier if they like to have sex with me. If they don't like having sex with me, it's pretty hard to make them listen to me. All the drama, she's got to have all the dreams. We'll talk about soul walking. Everything has to come from you, all of it. She should have no outside influences on you at any level.
Can you talk a little bit about that? How the restrictions and the boundaries you put on a woman in terms of who she can talk to, where she can go, these kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to be very careful with this, and I'm very careful when I talk like this, because I don't want anyone to be autistic about it, right? But if you really want to truly soul walk a chick, she's yours. And when I say she's yours, I mean she's basically with you, her family, and your family. That's basically it, right? If she has a really strong social circle and she really insists on seeing them, they're going to have a big influence over her. And it is in your best interest to get her away from that social circle. So you're trying to soul walk her, right? We don't want her out, whoever saying whoever. And women can't shut the fuck up either. They'll talk your business. They'll give their side of the story only. You're a bad guy now. My husband wouldn't do that, even though the bitch is lying just to try and flex. You know what I mean? It gets in their head, right? So you have to try and isolate her from those things. And the things we've talked about thus far, like selling a dream, adding excitement, her never catching you slipping, all these things tie into isolating her and taking her away from the outside influences. Every outside influence is trendy. All of them.
Okay, so the sex trafficking, yes, he is admitted to doing that, okay, and there's lots of videos of him talking about how he coerces women and how he'd find them on like social media sites. He said like he would like send like an emoji, like a strawberry or something like that, just because it'll get them talking to him. They'll be like, well, why have you sent me this strawberry? And it'll get them talking to him and he'll try to seduce them, okay. You know, he's talked openly about this. He's also talked openly about how he would steal money from the women that were working for him.
When you say webcam company, people assume, oh, it's just a sex fest. But in reality, it's a shitload of people management. The HR category of the webcam business is the largest and most important thing. You're effectively taking girls, teaching them how to make unlimited money from home, and then making sure they give it all to you. Your goal is to inspire a girl to make money and give you the money.
Your goal is to rip her off. That's really what he's telling you. Those are his words. I'm not taking anything out of context. We're not chopping this up. This is his little seminar that he was pitching to all these guys out there who think he's got something to offer.
So the way you're going to do that is you have to have some element of influence, and you're going to have that element of influence through her respecting you, looking up to you, and her believing she needs you. And this is extremely important, because at the beginning she will need you, but then she won't need you. But you have to keep that fallacy, keep that dream alive. She can't do this without you, to ensure that she doesn't do it without you. So this is what you want her to leave and go, well, I don't know the account, I don't have the password to the account, I've never set it up before, I don't know how the banking works, I don't have any of my guys' phone numbers, I have nothing. And that's why they don't want to leave, because they're like, oh, well, he has everything, I need him, I have to stay with him, he has everything. It's important, I'm telling you, it's a very important element, that control.
It's a very important element, that control.
The girls will be like, well, what the fuck do I need this dude for? And they will leave if you don't have every aspect under control. Tax is also another important element for controlling your woman. You're not going to pay anybody tax because you're getting paid in Bitcoin. So you don't need to pay tax to anybody.
That's not legal advice, by the way.
You need to tell your girl that you're paying the tax. Because girls are lazy, and girls are stupid, and girls don't understand how taxes work. So the girl's working with you, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we've made this much money, but I'm going to pay the tax to make sure we don't get in trouble. She'll sit there and go, okay, okay. Now that allows you to do two things. One, it's another control element. If I work with him, my tax is not a problem. If I do it alone, I have to deal with taxes. Taxes are complicated. It's a control element.
And he doesn't have respect for these women at all because he thinks they're stupid.
It allows you to pay her a smaller percentage. So I used to pay my girls 30%. So for every $10,000 they made, I'd give them 3, and I'd keep 7. They thought they were on 50%. And I said that the disparity is because of taxes. So you're on 50%, but we had to pay the tax first, and then it's 50-50. If they say, why is it 50-50? Because I'm the one on camera. You say, because I'm the one typing, I'm the one with the property you're working in, I'm the one paying the bills, the electricity, I'm the one who's, and the electricity and every other maintenance cost of this property, I'm the one who bought the equipment, I'm the one who knows what he's doing, I'm the one with the knowledge, I'm the da-da-da-da-da-da. Shut the fuck up. Go online.
Okay, so he's admitted that. He's also admitted about how, like, he didn't pay taxes. Okay, so tax evasions, he's admitted to this.
But when I lived in England, I refused to pay tax. It was 40%. So they started sending me letters and threatening me. You know what you do? Guess what I did? Ignore the letters. Ignore. Then they start sending people around to my house. Where's Andrew? Oh, he's not here. Ignore. You want my money? Come get it. Come get it.
Okay, the other thing that he and his brother have both admitted to is, like, well, seducing underage girls. Vivian, one of the women that worked for him, and although she still defends him now, there's a video of Andrew Tate beating her and when she was only 15 years old. And even though she comes out and defends Andrew Tate and she says, like, oh, you know, it was consensual BDSM that we were into, but she was a 15-year-old girl, all right? And both, you know, Andrew and Tristan Tate have, like, openly admitted to like sleeping with underage girls, or that the law is you know, when they go abroad, they're apparently not allowed to sleep with girls under the age of 18, and both Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate have admitted to doing this, and it's meant to be illegal to put girls on webcam before they're 18, and they've both admitted to doing that before.
Had it where I've had girls who say, oh, I know you're with Vivian, I know you've been with her a long time, I don't mind, I'll stay out tonight, you two stay alone, all that shit, but it never lasts long. Because the ones who are really in love with you won't do that. You actually have to downplay your relationship with the girl of 6 years. And I only get away with that because the girl of 6 years plays along. So Vivian's been with me
So he's been with Vivian for 6 years, right?
completely head over heels in love with me. She wants kids with me, everything. And we met and we fell, whatever, we're in love. But when a new girl comes, she'll go, oh yeah, I started off working for him and, you know, it's just how it worked out.
So Vivian's in on the con, right? And so if you're being deceived, even in the love arena, in order to get you to sex traffic, in order to get you to do the webcam business, it's part of the force, fraud, or coercion.
Super downplay us. When I bring on new girls, I usually pair them with Vivian. Because Vivian's younger. Melissa's like 28, Vivian's like 21.
Vivian's 21. And at this point, he's been a girlfriend for 6 years. So you do the math. It means that they met when she was 15 years old.
I need to remind you all that the Tates are United States citizens. According to the Protect Act of 2003, it is a crime for a United States citizen to make sexual contact with a person under 18 years old while they are overseas. Both Tate brothers have bragged about committing this crime countless times.
And the true abundance mindset of you can have the pick of the crop. You can have the world's most attractive women. I mean, one of my main chicks has 200,000 Instagram followers, and I took her virginity when she was 17.
Okay, now, also, regarding the allegations of, like physical abuse, okay, now, I said that, you know, there's a video of Tate beating Vivian, which she says is consensual, okay, but there's also, like, evidence that, some of the women that Andrew Tate, was beating, like, it wasn't consensual, okay, that, like, he had been violent and abusive to some of these girls.
Do you want my ideas? That's right, lock the door, you knew I was going to beat the out of you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you, would I? You don't. Get out. You can't stay in there forever.
Now, the allegations of rape, okay, that, I believe it's like about 40 women now that have accused Andrew Tate of rape, and, you know, like, and he denies this, right, and a lot of people say, well, you know, we shouldn't just hashtag believe all women, right, fair enough, but the thing is, the women and girls that have accused Andrew Tate of rape, they all come up, well, most of them seem to come up with the same story about how Andrew Tate would strangle them until they go unconscious, right? And these are girls and women that, they make these accusations at different times and are from different countries, and they didn't know each other, and they didn't know that Andrew Tate had also got these allegations from other women that had also said that he had been into choking them until they went unconscious, okay? So that what I'm saying is these women can have got together and collaborated. Like, if it was all women that had worked with each other and knew each other, you could make the argument that, well, maybe they got together and they decided amongst themselves that they're going to make up this story about how Andrew Tate raped them and strangled them and all that. But this isn't women that knew each other. This is women who didn't know each other from different time periods, who, they're all saying the same things.
Many of the victims in the remaining case, I've read their testimony, including the 15-year-old girl who provided testimony against Andrew Tate saying, you know, he sexually abused me when I was 15. And she describes really her distress. You know, he took me at this young age of 15 and, you know, sexually abused me. She describes anal sexual abuse, being strangled. And on top of that, there's all of these UK victims. And what's so compelling is that there is consistency in the description of the abuse among many women across countries and across different time periods. So that young 15-year-old described being strangled by Andrew Tate. She doesn't know these UK victims who back in 2016 described being strangled by Andrew Tate. That's a level of corroboration you rarely see. That's powerful evidence. So there's multiple victims that have come forward and described violent sexual abuse in multiple countries.
Tate's favourite method of abuse, violence, strangulation.
And you know, even just the whole notion or idea that this was like a setup or a hit job by these left-wing NGOs is so absurd when you actually take more than 1 second to think about it. Like, were they clairvoyant? I need you to explain this to me. No one knew who Tate was back in 2018 when you took me to see him for this business meeting. And yet, that same year, I go and get a hospital report documenting strangulation 5 years before it would be reported publicly that that was what he did to other victims who, like, there are reports back before he was even on Big Brother. So is the idea that, you know, these left-wing NGOs came and found me and we all took a time machine back to 2018 because they needed that report then to do a hit job on him now in 2025? What are you talking about? It makes no sense. Like, I just knew that that was going to be the method that he used on other girls.
You know what they didn't teach you in self-defense? Here's a little move. When I grab you by your neck and you start annoying me trying to resist, and I just... and then I grab you by your neck again. Then what the fuck are you gonna do when your face is collapsed and your fucking cheekbone's broken? You ain't gonna do shit but cry.
I guarantee I changed the way you look at sex forever. You're gonna be fucking crying. I won't cry. I bet you cry, bitch. I bet you fucking cry. You're saying I wouldn't cry. You're challenging me to a fight. You're saying I can't hurt you. You're out of your fucking mind? I don't even have to fuck you. Forget the sex part. That's a distraction. My dick can stay in my pants. I'll just start beating the shit out of you.
A lot of people could say, he's just joking there. He was just joking. The fact that he always talks about choking women, and yet that is a consistent thing, and I've read a lot of the case files, he choked me until I went unconscious. They all seem to say it.
Okay, so these women all say the same things about being strangled, but on top of that, Andrew Tate himself has, like, repeatedly sort of said, like, really creepy stuff about, like, grabbing a woman by the throat and telling her that you're the boss. Okay. But also, one of the alleged victims, Andrew Tate, well, he texted, "I loved raping you," which some people, they sort of tried to say, like, oh, well, you know, it might have been a joke. Him and his girlfriend, they might have been into, like, BDSM, and as a joke, he sort of texted, "I loved raping you." And it's like, okay, if it was the text message alone, you could make that argument, right? But we've also then got this voicemail recording from Andrew Tate.
That audio, along with disturbing messages reading, quote, "I loved raping you," are now coming to light as Tate faces sex trafficking charges overseas. Vice World News published the messages and voice notes allegedly made by Tate. We want to warn you, they may be disturbing to some.
You didn't like that I was thinking I can do whatever I want to. That's what it is. I'm the smartest person on this planet. Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I loved how much you hated it. Turn me on. Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit? You didn't pass out. Chill the out. Jesus Christ, I thought you were cool. What's wrong with you?
The accuser included a message apparently sent from Tate reading, quote, "I loved raping you."
Why? I am one of the most dangerous men on this planet. Sometimes you forget exactly how lucky you were to get fucked by me. Would you rather me pin you down and make you do things you didn't like, or would you rather fuck?
You didn't like that I was thinking I can do whatever I want to. That's what it is. I'm the smartest person on this fucking planet.
Okay, so, well, he's been accused of rape, and a lot of women accuse him of strangling them. And on top of that, Andrew Tate talks about how he loves strangling women. Okay, so even though, like, yeah, I get where people are coming from, that, oh, you can't always guarantee that, like, every allegation's true, but when it's women all coming up with the same story, and you've heard Andrew Tate talk about it, about doing this to women himself, okay, and, it's like it's overwhelming evidence, okay, and, since then he's had, his ex-girlfriend Bree Stern, she came out and said, that he abused her, and that was, when he was allowed to travel to Florida, okay, there's that, and she has a text conversation as well, of evidence of Andrew Tate, like, admitting to, like, saying that he liked to hit her and saying that he found it relaxing, and she said that she didn't like it. All right, and she's also got evidence, like, because she claimed he, like, hit her in the head, and she's got evidence from a doctor saying she's part concussed or something. So there's that. Then on top of that, Lauren Southern as well, she's come out and said that he abused her and raped her and strangled her years ago. And a lot of people, you know, the red pillars, they say, like, oh, she's probably just saying it now because she wants to sell her book. But she told, people that are close to her said that she told him about this years ago. And also, she has medical evidence as well that, from a doctor saying signs of strangulation. And she has text conversations as well. So this is what I mean when I say a lot of the evidence comes from Andrew Tate himself. Like, there's, like, God knows how many text conversations that people have got as evidence and voice recording. And this is what I mean when it's like, it's overwhelming evidence, and a lot of it comes from Andrew Tate himself, okay? The other thing he's admitted to is scamming men. He's admitted that he got rich through scamming men.
I did is I unplugged their keyboards. I plugged a new one in from me behind the screen. So the chicks would sit there and hit a keyboard that wasn't plugged in. And me and my brother, and eventually some staff I trained, would do all the talking. The girls were just pure, just losers, just laughing and doing this. Their titties out. And they're talking to fucking ice cold hustlers. We were taking their money, all of it. They come and say, what, all of it. We're fucking milking them dry. Women have no clue how to do. They don't have, because they run their looks. They don't have any of the intellect. They have no game. Nothing. Nothing. Nah, you get a man with game and give him a female's body, a female avatar. You will fuck a guy up. I had these guys selling their houses, life savings, loans, all of it to me. Give me it all. So, like, and it's basic shit, right? You'd have a guy.
Feel bad or no?
Fuck no. To give a solitary fuck.
Okay, so it's like the list is almost endless of, like, self-snitching Andrew Tate does. So when people say, like, oh, but he's innocent until proven guilty and we shouldn't decide either way before he's been found innocent or guilty, and it's like, well, yeah, I would normally agree with that with a trial, yeah, that you shouldn't decide before somebody's gone to trial. But the thing is, with Andrew Tate, like I said, the only way that he could be innocent is if he's the one who's lied about himself, okay? So, and how can anybody say that Andrew Tate has not committed any crimes when Andrew Tate himself is the one that will tell you that he's committed lots of crimes?
Listen, I've committed multiple felonies.
Okay, I find it really quite uncanny that, like, so many people have listened to his self-snitching, and I don't know whether they forget about it, or they pretend to forget about it, or whether they hamster rationalise it in their brain to mean something else, I don't know, or whether they just don't care that he's raped many women, you know, but these people who are just believing him when he says, oh, there's no evidence against me, when, like, he's the one who self-snitched so much. So, like, the reason why it annoys people when people platform Andrew Tate, the reason why it frustrates people is because he is being given free platform to spread his lies when everybody, well, not everybody, but when you've heard all his self-snitching and you know that it's lies, and a lot of people do not give any pushback. Now, to be fair, Piers has given Andrew Tate a bit of pushback in the past, more so than like the other people that like platform Andrew Tate absolutely suck up to him, somewhat chronic, and it's absolutely disgusting. Okay, and Piers has given Andrew Tate some pushback, but he still like lets him lie to a degree. And, you know, it annoys me slightly when people seem to have this attitude of like, oh, well, it's free speech. You should be able to platform whoever you like. And Andrew Tate has every right to say his point of view. And, like, the thing that people seem to be missing is people who say this is that, yeah, Andrew Tate has had every right to spew his point of view and to spew all his lies and to play the victim and go on about the Matrix attack and all that. He's had the freedom to do that. But the victims, or the alleged victims, as I suppose I should say, they don't get to say their side of things because they're in hiding, okay? They have to watch their abuser be worshipped by loads of men who make out like that he's an alpha male and he's a great role model for young men, and they cannot say their point of view, yet Andrew Tate can come out and say his lies, okay? I mean, Lauren Southern said, like, because she made a video reply to Tommy Robinson, because Tommy Robinson's friends with Andrew Tate, and he's been lying about Lauren Southern, and anyway, Lauren Southern made a video that she put on X, a reply to Tommy Robinson, and she happened to mention in her video that some people online are saying that they don't think Lauren Southern should be speaking out again publicly about what she says Andrew Tate did to her. They think that she should only talk about this when she's in court. She shouldn't talk about this publicly. And Lauren Southern said, well, the Tate brothers, they've had the freedom to, you know, keep spewing their lies or to tell their side of things, and they're being platformed all the time by people. But then as soon as Lauren Southern speaks out, they're like, oh, you shouldn't be saying this, you're not in court. Or...
And also, I keep seeing this absolute moronic take of, Lauren, you should leave this to the courts. No one should talk about these things unless it's in a courtroom. But the sex trafficker should get to speak all day long on major networks, slandering the 40-plus victims as much as he wants. Well, they don't have a voice. Well, these people remain anonymous. Well, they remain quiet. And he says they're fake, they're being paid, they're whores, they're this, they're that, all day long. Well, Tommy gets to lie about me, completely invent things that happened. I guess I'm just not supposed to respond. Yes, leave it to the courtroom. Unless they're the sex trafficker, then don't leave it to the courtroom. Oh, and by the way, the courtroom in the country that the guy moved to specifically to get away with crimes. The courtroom where even if they ruled against him and all of his supporters would say was just a Matrix attack. Of course, if it ruled for him, they'll be like, this was justice served. It's like Schrodinger's effing Matrix. Good thing happen, not Matrix. Bad thing happen, Matrix. Such unbelievable levels of idiocy. I don't understand how anyone is falling for it. Truly.
You know, the other, like, alleged victims of Andrew Tate, they don't have a voice. Okay? I saw a comment on, this was on Piers Morgan's X account. Piers Morgan's uncensored X, because he's got a couple of X accounts, and the one where he posts his uncensored videos. I saw a comment that somebody had left, and they left a comment saying that they think Piers Morgan should have Matthew Jury on his uncensored show and interview him, because Matthew Jury is the lawyer who is representing some of the alleged victims in the UK, and he's done an interview before with True Geordie. All right, and I thought that was actually a good idea. I agree with that comment because, you know, Andrew Tate has been platformed loads of times and he's been able to spew his point of view. Yet the alleged victims, they don't have a voice. But, you know, Matthew Jury, he's like, you know, he's sort of spoken out on behalf of them for a little bit. So I actually think that'd be really cool if, like, Piers Morgan had Matthew Jury on his show and, you know, we got to interview him and tell the other side rather than just constantly hearing Andrew Tate harp on about what a victim he thinks he is. Okay. So I agreed with that comment. Because we've got even, like, some of the most powerful people in the world seem to be defending Andrew Tate. Okay, and we don't know if the reason why Romania is taking so long to do anything to the Tate brothers, we don't know whether it's got anything to do with the fact that the Trump administrators stuck their nose in and tried to help the Tates out. We don't know. I mean, I've heard various rumours, like some people say they think the Tates are paying off a judge or something in Romania. I don't know. I don't know. But they are approved of extradition to the UK because after Romania has finished with them, right? Because they face trial-ready charges here in the UK, but they're not allowed to be extradited until Romania is finished with them. And Romania is taking so long. Okay. And of course, the longer it takes, the more people believe the lies from the Tates. Because, you know, Andrew Tate keeps saying he's beat the Romanian case and all that. And that's not true. They are still charged in Romania. They also have a civil case in the UK, and that's to take place, I think it's June next year. And the Tates don't actually have to be there for the civil case. But yeah, there is a date set for the civil hearing for the Tates. The criminal case in the UK, that can't happen, like I said, until Romania's finished with them. I think they're still being investigated in Florida as well, because Andrew Tate has lied about that and said that the Florida investigation is finished, that they didn't bother with that anymore, and that's not true. I believe they're still being investigated in Florida. So I do think that eventually it will come crashing down for the Tate. So I don't know, like, when. It could take years, and like I say, it's like, yes, it is frustrating when, you know, people keep platforming the Tate brothers and, you know, just blowing smoke up their ass and telling them how wonderful they are when they've admitted to doing some disgusting stuff, okay? Like, yeah, it's innocent until proven guilty, but the Tate brothers have outright talked about the evil. They've bragged about the evil stuff they've done. I don't know. I don't understand how some people can be that evil, that cruel, and just be proud of it. And not have, like, any conscience whatsoever. It's like, it's disgusting. I don't get it. But anyway, that's all I've got to say about that for now. Thank you for listening.